Yo, what's up guys? My name's Samuel Leeds. I wanted to introduce you to a guy called James Armstrong. I met James Armstrong when he was, I think he was 19 or maybe just turned 20. He took my property training courses. He went into debt to go on my property training courses. My brain went into his brain and then he took the knowledge, ran with it. He became financially free in his early 20s, starting with absolutely nothing. He's now still killing it in property. He made £70,000 off one deal sourcing fee one time, but he's doing deals again. This really is a testament that anybody can do it, even if you're young, even if you're starting with no money. He's been on Winners Wednesday before, he's come on my YouTube channel before, he's still doing well, even after all these years. So here he is, James Armstrong, enjoy.
Yep.
How much money are you now making through property?
About £4,000 a month.
About £4,000 a month.
Yeah.
You've quit your job.
Yeah, I quit that back in August.
That's cool. Congrats, bro. That's
Cheers,
so
man.
cool.
Yeah.
What's been your strategy?
So I went for deal sourcing.
Okay.
I mean, with deal sourcing, you have to learn about all the different strategies anyway, unless you just want to source HMOs. But I do bespoke sourcing, so it's a case of sitting down with an investor and finding out what's the best investment for them. So I've been through all the different trainings, so I know about all the different types of strategies. And after doing that, I thought, well, deal sourcing is what I want to do. It sounds like the most fun. It allows you to get started with no money. So I went and I did deal sourcing, and from then I've done HMOs, single lets, rent to rents, rent to SAs, buy refurbs now. So kind of every strategy, but my strategy is deal sourcing.
I know a lot of your investors are quite wealthy. They might not even, a lot of your investors don't even live in England.
No, they don't.
They're from Dubai.
Yeah, it's like an 8-hour flight plus stoppages and stuff to get here.
How much money are you making in property now?
I'd say deal sourcing's doing about 12 grand a month, split between Auntie and I, and then we've got developments coming out of our ears, and when they finish, anywhere between sort of 5 and 35 grand.
What's been the most impressive deal that you've done?
Back in March, about 3-4 weeks after we shot my last one on the Wednesday, I sold a portfolio of 16 houses.
Yeah.
And my finder's fee on that was 3% of the purchase price, which was like 65 grand, give or take.
65 grand in one deal. Is that in your bank?
It was.
And what's happened to it?
I've reinvested it
Oh
all.
man!
I know, and I had a call last week, as well as making 16k, from the head of global staffing at Google. That was a fun conversation.
You got a phone call from Google last week.
Yeah, he's putting £1 million into the UK property market.
How many views has your winners had?
Probably nearly 50k around that. Not bad.
What about the other one?
The one from the crash course has done like 16 or something, which is still pretty decent.
So altogether, it's like you're talking like 60 odd, 66,000, 67,000 views.
Yeah, but I remember I've done 2 winners on the Wednesdays as well.
Yeah. That's so good. So I wanted to see how you're getting on at the moment. What's going on, like with the lockdown and stuff? Are you taking your foot off the accelerator and waiting for things to get back to normal, or are you continuing to work on property, or what?
I'm still working on property, man. Obviously, I've got more time naturally, so I don't have to take my foot off to get the time that I would want to get by taking my foot off. So I'm still pushing on the deal source and on the property. That is very much my main front. But I've been given loads more time, so just spent reading, looking into new areas, new deals, etc., looking at systemizing the business. All that back end stuff that sometimes just gets put to the back of the queue in a normal 9 to 5 because you don't have the time to do some of the stuff it's less important, doesn't really pay you, but it helps streamline things a bit more, like some of those templates, your emails and things. So doing that is really, really cool. And then pushing more social media, pushing more YouTube videos, things like that. And then outside of that, looking into different investment areas. I still want to stay on property, but I want to do more deals for myself and things like that. So I've actually been looking into crypto recently and looking into that, but very much property, 100% property.
You remember my advice to you about a year ago?
Yes, I do. I remember it very, very clearly. It's fine if you want to move away from property, but whatever you do, never, ever, ever forget property. Never abandon property, I think was the exact word you said. Never abandon property. You can come in and out. I love training at the moment, and I'll come back and do more property, and then I'll do something else maybe. But never take your foot out of property. Always do that. And that is very much my goal.
Because sometimes it's easy, and you're a young guy. I know you've been successful. How old are you now?
22.
22. It's my biggest fear for you when you started, and you've proven not to do this, would be that you'd kind of like flutter and chase different things, and you do a bit of this and then a bit of that, and then you're 30 years old, and you're like, actually,
I haven't
I've
done
got
anything.
a lot of experience, but I've not built anything. I've not got a large
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Well, I experienced that in the start of my journey in the academy, because I started off doing deal sourcing. I had a bit of a rough patch when I messaged you about, I can't seem to get any investors. And, that period, I started looking for more rent to SAs. And I took my foot off the gas, spent 3 months looking for rent to SAs, got a few, then they fell through. And then the minute I went back to deal sourcing, I made 10 grand 3 days later, literally 3 days later. I was like, okay, so this is what I need to be doing. This works. And I just wasted 3 months by flapping off into a different strategy, still property, but not focusing. And I really found the value then of focusing. And, if you use it as an acronym, it's follow one course until successful. It doesn't mean you can't do another course later, but just get that one working and then you can branch out. So now deal sourcing is going well. Still got 3 full-time members of staff now. I don't really have to do an awful lot in the business, and I'm beginning to systemize it, take me out so I can do more deals of my own.
Yeah. That's really cool. So talk to me about some of I really like what you said about that you're setting up systems and streamlining stuff, because I'm doing the exact same in my business, so that when things do go back to normal, i.e. we can leave our houses, I don't think things are ever going to completely go back to the way they were. There's going to be changes, but
Sure.
in terms of things go back to normal to a point, I think that if we can streamline and systemize things so that actually work life is easier moving forward, that's a really cool thing. So give me some examples of how you've done that within your property business.
Sure. Well, initially, I said there's 3 stages to the systemization. One is just earn more money so that you're able to pay for the things that you need to do to get your time back. Once you've grown your business, I then look to outsource immediate tasks. So if you're doing your own bookkeeping, get a bookkeeper. Think simple things like that. Anything where you're doing it yourself, where you could be outsourcing it. Some of your social media management, I still think you should do a lot of it yourself, but some of your social media management, things like that, you can outsource it. And then after that, there are some tasks you just have to pay people to do and get staff. So for me, Abby is incredible for just a lot of the investor handling. Once I've sold the deal, there's not a lot I have to do. That's pretty much down to how Abby handles all the solicitors and brokers and stuff, which is very, very helpful for me. And then I've just employed someone else who's a full-time deal sourcer, and they will take over the sales role in due course once they're at a point in which they can do it. But they're now finding deals regularly. They understand the deal sourcing side. And when I'm checking them that they're right, they can come up with their own offers. They can quote their own bill costs. They know what they're doing. And then obviously the next stage for them is they'll take over the sales days and then the emails. And to be honest, that'd be pretty much me out of the business. I don't have to be there every single day. Yes, I run it. Yes, I'll still vet it. It'll still be my business. It'll still make money. It'll still have my face. But my actual time involved with the operational side of what's going on will be very, very minimal. And I can just steer it then.
Because deal sourcing is something where I say you can make a lot of money, but it's not passive. But I guess if you employ people and you systemize it as a business, you can make anything passive.
Yeah, for sure. It's a business at the end of the day. And I don't want to be self-employed. I want to have a business. A business is not a business until you can run it without yourself, without you being there. I'm not going to go spend 6 months away and do nothing. I will go do something creative and constructive. But still, I could choose to if I wanted to.
So it's very interesting you mentioned cryptocurrency, because I actually think that's a smart thing to do, especially right now, because one of my problems and challenges that I've had is I've got so much money in property, and I was in the process of selling some houses, and I have sold quite a lot, but when this has happened, I don't really want to sell right now. I don't think it's sell right now. So you can have a lot of money, but if it's tied up in property, it's not liquid at all. And having money in the bank is not smart. So putting money in cryptocurrency, I think it's very liquid. I've got money in Bitcoin. I just sold some of my Bitcoin and I got the money within a few hours. So it's very, very liquid. But at the same time, it's probably smarter than having money in the bank when they're printing so much money right now. Grant says that cash is trash, and I don't think that's ever been as true a statement as right now in 2020.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It is worth noting crypto is obviously very volatile. So one morning you don't really know what it's going to be worth to the next. But when you look at the amount of quantitative easing that they're doing, the US just flat out stated they will do unlimited quantitative easing, and they haven't actually recovered any of the debts that they bought back in 2008 last time that they did it. And when you look at that level of quantitative easing, you can't expect your money to still be worth something in the bank. Like all the savings banks' interest rates have already fallen off a cliff, and the value of money is going to become worth less and less and less. And I really do think inflation is going to get hit hard throughout this depression.
No, I think so. So systemization, that's really, really cool. What's happened to your deal sourcing business during lockdown? Because there's obviously it's very challenging. Have you been able to sell any deals? Have you been able to make any money?
Yes, I have. We've probably made 25 odd grand since the start of the lockout. So it's slower than normal. I'm not going to lie to you. It is slower. My time on the phone is more. I get less messages in. You know, it is very much slow. We can't view as many houses. I have less deals coming through. But it's not impossible to make money is what I always tell people. Like, look, yes, it's more difficult, but it's not impossible. So quite frankly, it doesn't really matter. There is no excuse to still not go out there and make money. I know that it's not easy. I can see it, but I'm not going to give in to that. So we're still selling deals. I've noticed the biggest problem I have is not that people's trust in me or in my business or even in the property market or where it's going. Their trust is within their own business. A lot of investors are people who've got successful businesses, whether it be chiropractors, doctors, or whatever. You know, they're making good money in business. They've got some business profits, 200,000, 300,000 on the side, and they want to invest that in another form of income. They want to invest in property. But when their business has got people on furlough, they're not getting new clients in, you know, and they're losing a quarter's worth of revenue, you know, they have to hold their cash reserves because they won't have to build out their own business because that is their livelihood. It's where they're built. They're not yet in a position where it's something is passive. So they have to ensure that that stays alive, which means they don't have the money right then to invest. So I'm noticing the bigger deals, people holding off on. But things like borrowing February finance have been so solid for me since July last year. Like any day of any week, I could have sold a borrowing February finance deal. You know, your standard single let, buy it for 40K or whatever, spend 20 on it, is worth 90. You know, those ones, they still sell. They still sell. And that's like a 9-month solid. And I mean, week in, week out, I could sell a deal like that. I'd have absolute confidence when I put it on the list that I would get money for it. And multiple people messaging in, and that is still true. So
it's easier for you because you've prepared yourself by building an investor list over the last year. So now during this dry patch for you, you're able to kind of stay afloat.
Yeah, and I'm still getting new investor leads. And in fact, I'm getting more investors now than before to some extent. The flow of deals is slower. So we have huge numbers of houses that we viewed over last year, as you can imagine. We've still got those details. When we put offers in and they got rejected, they went on a list, a no for now list. That there is a list of 200 houses that we know have already been stacked. They've been viewed. I've got all the evidence. I've still got all the videos. Hey, all I've got to do is make a phone call to the agency if they're still in the market and put another offer in. I've got a deal. Smart. You know, when you have that many houses, like, it's going to happen. The other thing that we did was, I would say I saw it coming. I didn't see coronavirus coming. No one did. But I saw the lockdown coming about a week or so in advance, and I just stored up deals then.
Yeah.
And I didn't send them all out in the first week. I was like, you know, let's keep a few because I don't know how long this is going to go out, and I don't know how easy it's going to be to find deals. I don't know what measures are coming in place. So I went into the start of lockdown with like 8 deals or something accepted. Yeah. And then went from there. It was weird though. The first week was like dry. It was just like dry, and there was just no sales, nothing. And it was like the end of the week, and I was like, what is going on? So I just started picking my phone up. I started cold calling everybody in my phone that I could remember who had money, and see where they're at. Started speaking to people. I was suddenly like, right, where is my list? I want to know where my people are at. I just started phoning everybody, and I spent one day, probably spent, I don't know, 6-7 hours on the phone. By the end of it, I knew exactly where people were. I knew what they wanted. I knew what I needed to do to make money. And literally 2 days later, we sold the first deal. So it was slow for one week. And then once I'd educated myself on what was going on and where people were, we're making money again. So I think. What
would you do? What are you going to do when you run out of deals? How are you filling the pipeline of deals up now without being able to view properties? What's the plan?
Still got stuff we viewed and haven't stacked. So I got a lead. I've had a few leads come through for some larger tenanted blocks of flats and things because people are realizing the passive income that's going to come from them over the course of the recession. And for me, I've got about 15 of those that I got sent through from various developers over the last few months. I haven't really had proper time to go down and do, but now I do. So I've got other stuff that I'm going to be working on. And to be honest, if I get real stuck, hell, I'll just borrow some money from some people and then go buy some houses for myself. And then it doesn't matter if I don't make any money in deal sourcing for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I'll just go make some money by doing
that. Deal sourcing is one strategy. Is there any other property strategies that you're either doing or looking to do this year that you're excited about?
Sure. So I'm doing a borrow February finance. I spoke to you about that house a while ago. Yeah, that's in the middle of refurb. That's due to be finished anytime in the next few weeks. I've already got a flip lined up, which will start the minute that one's done, and that's all finance ready to go. It's well into conveyancing. I couldn't tell you where it is, but near completion. And then we've just exchanged contracts on our biggest development today, Anthony and I.
Fantastic. What's that?
It's a very big property. Anthony promised that I wouldn't tell. I promised Anthony I wouldn't tell you yet. So I can't say.
I'll have a chat with Anthony. I'll have a chat with Anthony.
It's big. It's big.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Confirmation yesterday of the exchange of contracts. So.
I can't blame Anthony because I've been telling Anthony, don't count your chickens until they're hatched. Never be at ease until you got the keys. You know, all these things. So.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to say at the moment.
They're predicting that properties will probably fall by 10 to 20% this year, which sounds very realistic. I mean,
in 2020.
In 2020, yeah.
I don't see that. I don't see that because there's going to be a mad hype for 3 months when people go back to doing all things they didn't have a chance to do before they left. You know, people are going to now we can suddenly complete. So we can get surveys and valuations booked in. And you're going to get a false economy from that. It takes 3 months to buy a house. It takes 3 months for it to come up on land registry. You know, it takes ages to get things done. So you're talking 6 months really before you start to see the valuation.
At the moment, sellers are being extremely stubborn. I mean, I'm trying to negotiate with sellers at the moment, and they just seem to realise what's happening. They're like, oh, well, my house was valued 6 months ago at 100 grand, so I'm not prepared to go lower than 100 grand. And you're saying, yeah, but that was 6 months ago. Now, and they don't get it. But
no.
I mean, ultimately, I think for me, when I'm buying, I'm not buying for capital appreciation. I'm always buying for cash flow.
Yeah.
How's that? If that happens, if properties crash like crazy, then what's going to happen to all your investors that are buying those BRRR deals that are expecting to be able to refinance in 6 months? I mean, aren't they going to be stuffed?
That's a great question. I personally don't think so because I don't think we're going to see that drop until the first quarter of 2021. So I don't think, like, if you can get out before, I would say if you can get out before the end of October in your deal, ideally, you should be fine. If you get out anything after that, you're playing a bit of a risk, but I think you'll be okay. So if you can get out before the end of October, I think you'll avoid the massive drop. And besides, there's contingency building on a lot of these anyway. They'll still be great investment houses if you leave 5 grand rather than 2. You know, it's still going to be a good deal for you. So I don't think it's been massive. I'm not massively concerned about that. The other thing that we're doing is properties that are valued by rent. And rent's not going to go down, so actually the asset price isn't going to be affected on those. So you get great cash flow and you get sustained value.
I mean, if properties crash, all that's going to do is it's going to create opportunity, and it's going to mean that you can get higher return on investment. Because when I started out in property in 2008, when there was a crash, 2010, 2011, properties were really low. It was actually great because you could buy a house really cheap. You could rent it out for a reasonable rent. So if there's a crash, if property just only went up, then it's only going to be good for those that got in 20 years ago. So,
yeah. I mean, I have to look back and go, oh, I wish I was around in the 90s. I could buy a house for 5 grand. I got 5 grand now. Let's go buy a house. But obviously, it's different. But yeah, like you say, cheap houses, they're going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lots of houses that we can buy and rent out.
Being fluid and being able to adapt your strategy, risk assessing things, buying, knowing that the property could drop. For me, it's interesting because I mean I'm also doing development, so buying properties, building properties, selling properties. So I'm having to think, you know, what's gonna happen, because I don't want to build a house that's going to take 6-12 months to build, and then in 12 months once it's finished, it's actually not worth. But it's very, very interesting, and it's great to get your insight. What would your advice be to somebody watching this that's thinking about getting into property? Is it a good time? Is it a bad time? What's the strategy to do? Because I think there's a lot of people with a lot of questions right now.
Sure. I think the strategy to do is raising finance. That's definitely got easier. And it's the best way of building your own portfolio. I think now is probably, if you genuinely know nothing, now is probably the best time to do it, because it's going to take you time to learn what you need to do, get educated, learn how the strategies work. By the time you've learned that and you're ready to go, you know, we'll be deep into the recession. The houses are all going to be really cheap. You're going to know all of the strategies to be using at that time. You know, you've already got the initial feedback. You're working with people and trainers and in a network of people that know what they're doing. I would go for it right now, get educated right now, because you know it's going to take you time to learn. And when you're then at the point where you know what you're doing and you can start to really sort of get some traction and success in the market, you're going to be at a point where there's just so much opportunity around, and it wipes out all the people who are amateur and don't know what they're doing because they'll lose all the money.
Well, when people are worried, that's when the best opportunities come. The strategy that I'm promoting right now quite heavily is lease option agreements.
Yeah.
Because
if I was signing one today, I'd do it over 7 years though.
Well, longer the better. But the great thing about these option agreements is you have your cake and eat it too, because at the end of the term, whether it's 5, 7, 10 years, if it has dropped, then you just say, well, thanks for the cash flow, I'm off now. And if it's dipped, it might dip over the next 12 months or so, and then it could rocket. That often does happen after a recession, a crazy bounce back, rebound effect. If that happens, 5, 7, 10 years is a very, very long time. And it's amazing because I can remember in 2008 when everyone was saying, the property market's doomed. People honestly believed that houses, people were telling me, they're gonna go back to like they were like in the 50s, they're gonna be worth $5,000. That's what people were genuinely believed and they were genuinely saying. And actually what happened is they went down, dropped about 20, 30%, depending on where you were, and then rocketed 2-3 years later. So it's very, very interesting. But no, I really appreciate your advice and your input. Is there any way that I can support you or help you in what you're doing right now?
If you got any spare deals, man, send them through.
You're looking for deals?
Either to do myself or to sell. Yeah, I want to do some more deals myself, but mainly. So if you've got anything of any interest, or anyone who's got deals they want to shift to do something, put them in touch with me, man. I'll
do that, my friend. I'll do that. Dude, thanks so much for your time. And drop me a message anytime, man. Drop me a message on WhatsApp, whatever, anytime.
Shall do, bro. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Peace out, my friend.